What's up, guys? Welcome to episode number 119 of the Always Race Day podcast presented by the Karl Auto Group. I'm Connor Ferguson here with Caleb Sloha. Tonight, just two of us. We're recapping the weekend. We'll get to it here in just a second. But first, we got to give a big shout out to the guys at the Karl Auto Group. They will get you anywhere you need to go, any car you need to buy, and do anything for you on the side too. I'm not sure that they'll go mow your lawn, but you could try. Could try to get it worked into the deal. Caleb, what a weekend.
Yes. Yeah, it definitely was a weekend.
So I'm a little thrown off tonight because I was planning on moving the show to Monday and doing it tomorrow night. So my mom was in the hospital Thursday, Friday night. Everything's good now. She's fine. But we were just going to chill tonight. I was going to watch some of the Stars game with my family. And then about 100 to go in the race at Kansas, I was kind of getting a feeling like, today has a chance to be really impactful, both because the action at Kansas was really good and because of some of the social media stuff between IndyCar people and people on the other side. We all know who I'm talking about, but we'll get into all of it. And it was a loaded weekend, and I'm not breaking any rules or promises with my family by doing the show, but I had to call the audible to get on here, so we'll get to it. Caleb, we got to start with NASCAR, right?
Yeah, we could definitely start there.
I mean,
I will say on the IndyCar F1 stuff, I've only seen a brief. I was just kind of starting to get into it, so we'll have to hear kind of what you've all seen. But yeah, what a race for the Cup Series at Kansas. One of the better races we've seen in the past couple of years. Just all around was a good race. It seemed like for the most part, you could work somebody over after a couple laps and make the pass. So just good from start to finish. A lot of lead changes. Good battling throughout the pack and throughout the race, and no, as Ross Chastain said, a good drama-free day. So
yeah, that was something with his stuff and everything, and basic overview of Kansas throughout the day. Just you had 3 wide restarts off the cuff. You had a little too many cautions, but that was okay. But you had a gradual kind of strategy race, and you had guys playing strategy. You had guys running scuff tires. William Byron was running his scuffs when he was a lap down, which was a very smart move because when he got back to the lead lap, he was able to put on new tires. Obviously, that didn't get him the win. And I think Kyle Larson was racing with 7 lap old tires at the end of the race there too. I think throughout the day, it was quintessential. Like, that's the perfect NASCAR race. And it didn't need the finish. It didn't need the finish to be anything that it was or wasn't. Like, that race up into the white flag lap was exactly what NASCAR has kind of built itself on and wants to be. Maybe that's the wrong way to phrase that. But as a fan, I think that's what we want out of the normal race.
Yeah, it definitely, it sucks to see. Like, I was super excited, like kind of what we talked about. It was a bummer to have it end in a guy getting wrecked, because I really wanted to see, them battle it out side by side and see who, was going to come out ahead. So it's super unfortunate to have, a guy get wrecked, especially for like Larson, who literally got wrecked for the lead twice today. So, but yeah, it was crazy because it really started out with like the Chevys were leading but the Toyotas just seemed very, very dominant. At one point, like every single Toyota was in the top 10. And then one by one, they kind of like were faltering back, but they were still strong. And then Hendrick kind of found more speed, and it seemed like, at least, Byron and Larson were super, super fast, and then Chase Elliott got up there for a little bit. So it was kind of a Hendrick versus Gibbs day, pretty much all day. But, at the end, it came down to Larson and Hamlin, and just really close, tight racing. And unfortunately, Larson ended up going around on the last lap, and Denny Hamlin won it.
Yeah, so that battle kind of started. Denny Hamlin was making his first kind of charge and closing in on Kyle with 18 to go. Either that or that was when I recorded the races for my dad, and today he didn't watch the race live with me. So that was where the recording cut off into the next show. But, they go in battle for the last however many laps. And, I see people commenting like, oh, no, once you get into the air, you can't pass the leader. And it wasn't like that. Kyle Larson's just really good. Like, Denny was trying his hardest to pass him, and it just wasn't happening. We do got, the last lap incident. I can see why Larson fans are mad. I don't like that you can get a car loose like that. I don't like that you can, approach the lead car in that way and screw up the air that's affecting his car. But I feel like you're trying to bend science fixing that. I don't think you really need to. But what I'm trying to say is I thought Larson was going around anyways.
To me, like
I could be wrong. I could be wrong. If Kyle comes out and says like Denny wrecked me and whatever his opinion is, I hope he clarifies a little bit, because I do want to know. Down the road, I'll ask him about it, but it looked to me like he was already going around.
It sucks because mid interview with Larson, we all got distracted. But
that was one of the funniest clips all year.
Like, it was hilarious. So, and then NASCAR Chasm put a tweet out too that was like the most. I was seriously like wheezing. It was so hilarious. So he tweeted the side-by-side picture of Larson's interview where he's laughing, and then you have the next side-by-side is Gragson and Chastain, and he put, when you're sad that you lost the race on the final lap, but then you see an Amish guy and a watermelon farmer get into a fight, and suddenly that frown turns upside down, and you realize there's so much beauty in the world. Because of course Gregson has that bowl cut now, so he just looks like an Amish dude. But from my perspective, Larson got into the wall, so you had that. But then you also had Hamlin was giving him absolutely no room. So like the contact was going to get made either way. And then it was like Larson kind of got sideways and he really overcorrected and just went straight into the wall. I mean, if I have to point blame, I'm going to say it's Hamlin's fault, but really like it was hard racing on the final lap for the win.
Yes. That's all I can say. That's the overwhelming part or take that I want to make known is it was the last lap. You're racing for the win in a sport where winning is very, very valuable. If you are a contending team, or if you aren't, if you're locked in the playoffs on a win, or at least like clinch to finish 17th in the points, or however they do that. You expect something like that to happen. I was not too surprised, but I was thinking that, Hamlin's going to try to pass. If he gets one more chance at the last second here, he's going to dump him in the corner. Little bump and run that we used to see at Bristol all the time. But he didn't. I think he tried to be as clean as he could be while doing that, but you're racing for the win. Kyle Larson did all he could.
I've got a friend who is a huge Larson fan, and
he got Damon, and Damon's ass and is driving home from Kansas right now from the racetrack, and so I asked him if he could come. I didn't realize he was driving home already, but so he can't join us tonight. We'll have him on the next episode. We might do a bonus for you guys, but we got some stuff to work on this week, so stay tuned.
But yeah, I've got a friend. He's a huge Larson fan. He was also at the race, and so I asked him for his opinion on that deal, and he just said, it was a racing deal. It was an awesome race. He just kept saying over and over, it was an awesome race, and that's the important thing.
That's good. I'm glad your friend's not too big of a hothead. If I was strictly a Larson fan and not a journalist or anything, I'd be cursing Denny Hamlin the whole way home.
Some people are like that, but like he was glad that it was an awesome race, and at the end of the day, that's what we want, right? Like that's what we've been craving. So I'm glad that we had it.
Yeah. So they interview Hamlin. He didn't want to say too much about it. He glossed over that moment, that move specifically, in his post-race interview on the front stretch. Then we go to Kyle Larson. He's just saying, like, I haven't seen the replay. I really don't know. Because Larson, and I tweeted this with the clip of what I'm about to explain, but he's very rarely at a loss for words. He knows what he wants to say. He knows when he's going to put that out there. And basically, it cuts at some point, and I think Larson saw it after everyone else did, but it cuts to Ross Chastain and Noah Gragson, and you just see this big right hook from Ross Chastain into Noah Gregson's face. So we have a fight, and so now we're all just going to talk about the fight on top of the already really awesome race. And I think everyone said this already, and I love that they're doing this, but a lot of notable names in NASCAR. I think Tyler Reddick tweeted it, but they said, we got to go to hockey rules when we're doing post-race fights.
So that's what I said as soon as it happened.
Yeah, the number one rule in hockey reffing that I learned from my short time doing that when I was younger, if it's a one-on-one in a league that allows fighting, as long as no one else jumps in, don't separate it until they're on the ground.
Yeah, because it's super unfortunate that so Noah Gragson is frustrated, goes to Ross Chastain, and Ross ends up throwing the first punch, but then they're separated. So Ross gets one good hit in, and then they're separated, and Gregson's not allowed to do anything back. And yeah, that's super, super unfortunate. But it was funny because everybody started saying that. I did say as that fight happened, I said, we need hockey rules. What was also funny too is on track when Gregson and Chastain were having it out, and the whole thing kind of started on track. I looked at my friends and I said, if there's one person in the field that is going to go out and throw a punch at Ross, you just found that guy right there. And sure enough, it ended up, almost being the case. But
yeah, it's just another week of the circus, baby.
And he wasn't the only one. Kyle Busch was upset with him too.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, because then Kyle gets on the radio and says he's pissed at me because I'm pissed at him because he drives like an asshole.
Yeah, it's a funny quote, because that's the perfect way to phrase it, and I feel like it's exactly what happens every time this guy's getting into one of these.
It's just, I mean, you make so many enemies every single week, and we're talking about him again. Like he causes problems. I mean, 90% of the races. So it's just ridiculous. And again, it's unfortunate. We've talked about how he wrecks other people and never seems to have consequences for it. And now, somebody wanted to go punch him in the face, and he got the good deal out of it. Like I'm so over him getting to be the big boy in the situation. I'm ready for somebody to just kind of show him what needs to be done. I mean, I don't know or what or who, but it's getting to a point where it's got to be addressed.
No, it was already there. We're past that, and it's a circus now. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's true too. But like Gregson said too, Gregson brought up the point. He goes, they were asking him questions, and Gregson said, "You can't talk to the dude. You cannot talk to the dude." And so whatever, and you can get that vibe from him too. That when you're talking to him, like he just has like this like half smirk, like I don't really care what you're saying. Like, obviously we don't know what was said, but it's just I don't know. He needs to be brought down several steps, and I don't know when it's going to happen, but he just always seems to have the good end of every deal.
So this is what our site publisher said. Now watch all the nerds come out and complain about Chastain, even though he's the most interesting athlete in the sport by a long way. If we had 4 or 5 of these guys in the sport, we'd be in a hell of a lot better place. Old school. Sorry, I stuttered through reading that because he made a grammatical error. That's typically something that Ross Chastain fans do. They're not really solid at spelling and typing and sentence structure. But
if we had 4 or 5 of Ross Chastains, we would never be able to race under green. It would be.
We have that. It's called ARCA, and everyone makes fun of it. What the hell, Chris?
Oh my God!
Chris makes fun of ARCA all the time. That's what we should do. Is we should sit down at the end of the year and make Chris watch like 4 or 5 ARCA races we pick out in a row.
I mean, I think he should do that because I love ARCA. So
drivers got to learn somewhere, and we got to. That's a whole other conversation that I about just turned into a 20-minute discussion. But to get back to it and to what you were saying, I don't think we've ever been this close in NASCAR history to having 3 cars and one guy is behind Chastain, one's in front of him, and one's to the left, and they're just trapping him against the wall.
I mean,
if that was ever a hypothetical situation to happen, this is as close as we've ever been. That's all I'm trying to say. At some point, I mean, you got to think the guy's going to have some payback come to him, but he manages to escape like the mouse from Tom and Jerry.
Jerry.
Yeah, it feels a lot like that. Ross is Jerry in the weirdest way, and every other driver is Tom.
Well, and like Gregson said too, he goes, everybody seems afraid to like go up to him and confront him, and like
that's because he's got a guy there wearing the most pansy ass colored tan shirt that waits for him to throw a punch so he can break up the fight after, so Ross can keep his perfect looking face. And for the people that say I don't say anything nice about Ross Chastain, I just did. I complimented his face, so take that.
Oh my God, it's funny too because then Ross makes a comment too about like whatever he said. He said something about we don't shove people at Trackhouse, and he's made that comment before too. We watching that Xfinity. I don't remember which one it was or whatever, but he made the comment. Well, I've been grabbed by the shoulders before, and I'm not going to let that happen to me again. And it's so like he's just so much better than everybody. Like, stop knocking everybody around, and you won't get touched. Like, nobody comes up and grabs you if you're not bulldozing people over. Like, it
isn't the consequences of my own actions.
Yeah, it's like how dare you do that? So. But anywho, that's Ross Chastain in the news yet another week. We really should keep track of like every week that this happens.
The only last thing I have is in IndyCar with their deal. Almost all their races are on national cable television. Almost all of their events. Every race has a post-race show, whether it's on TV or whether it's streamed on Peacock. Every single race. They have a post-race show. They have a pre-race show. Today, after the fight happens, we get very little afterwards. Part of that is that Ross Chastain's personality is like that of a wet towel. Maybe just a moist one even. I don't know. The guy has never said anything brash that's like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. This guy's perfect. He just cut the best promo. He should just like copy a CM Punk promo and just memorize it. And at least then we'd have something that we're getting out of this. That's a positive. Because all we're doing is yelling at each other.
It is unfortunate though, because I don't even think we didn't even get a Gregson.
That's what I was gonna say. I didn't know where you saw that Gregson was saying stuff because I didn't think he was on the broadcast after.
Nope, it was on Twitter. But yeah, it's because we go over our TV window, like you can tell, because towards the end of the race there, well, if you're looking for whatever came on afterwards, like fourth tier NFL football, like, because anywho, whatever.
No, it was like, that's what I was trying to say is it's ridiculous to not get a comment from Gregson and to have to cut to, of all leagues, the damn USFL. So people will be quick to say this to me, and I'm going to address a couple of things. I'll address the F1 stuff later. Connor, you tell me all the time, go out to a Barnstormers game, go support the Indoor Football League. It's fun, it's cool. Arena football is a kick-ass sport, and it's awesome to watch no matter who the hell's playing it. That's why I love the sport. The only thing that leagues like the XFL and the USFL have done, and they've done it in recent years, this is a big reason why I hate the XFL, is when you have players in your league and the end of the season comes, somehow the league's going bankrupt because there's players that aren't getting paid. Those players are coming out of the Indoor Football League, in the National Arena League, and they're being poached from arena football to go play in these second-tier leagues with hardly any home field and barely a home crowd. I think St. Louis was the only one that ever took off somewhat, and they missed the playoffs with a 6-4 record. So I think it's a joke. I hate it. I hate it for the players that get screwed when they go and play there. And for the USFL to shorten NASCAR's post race is just damn pisses me off, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's super unfortunate. And I think we talked about this last week where, IndyCar, after the race, yeah, you get these interviews of like first, second, third, then, a guy finished sixth that normally wouldn't finish that good. So we interview him, and then 18th had a bad race today. So we interview him, blah, blah, blah. And, with NASCAR, you just get like 3 minutes. And partly, I think it's because they went over their TV time, but also we've really never, in the last couple of years had much of a post race. So, yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. We can't win. And it's like they were talking about, I was watching Hamlin's podcast, and, he's talking about, well, we need to find ways to get the Netflixes to say yes to giving us a series, and, these docuseries and blah, blah, blah. Well, how is Netflix going to go say, yes, there's enough entertainment for us to have a series when we don't ever get interviews from the drivers? It's never televised, their, comments or personalities or the drama. Like, we don't, as fans, don't get to see it on TV. So why would somebody else see it and pick up on it?
Yeah, absolutely. To connect that, all right, perfect segue here. Formula One, Connor. Racing is getting more popular in America. A rising tide lifts all boats. That's what they say, right, Caleb?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm just checking my bases off here. So why would you not like F1? Why do you tear it down every chance you get? Well, if F1 wanted to help racing in America, and if they were smart, they would not schedule head-to-head in the same exact time slot as NASCAR. Nearly every race they've ran here in the past 5 years has done that exact same thing. And for 3 years, it was a racetrack in Texas on the same day that NASCAR raced at Texas. They're not here to try and lift racing and make racing more popular. They are here to take Americans' money because they got big pockets. They're selling nachos for $275. Tweet about that. Every normal team t-shirt is like $130. The cheapest ticket was $500, and they dropped it to $400 because the attendance was going to suck. And then they published a bunch of fake attendance numbers saying that they had more people in the crowd this year despite all the empty seats we saw. It's a damn clown show, and people are starting to figure it out. People are starting to see it for what it is. There's 2 cars on the track every week that can win the race, and they're both named Red Bull. And it's a shame because some of these people are getting brainwashed into watching an F1 race, and they're not seeing a good product. They're seeing complete bullshit. And it's the same series that Andretti Autosport goes, we want to get into F1. We're going to build this huge facility, and it's going to be massive. It's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to transcend technology, and we're going to have real development in these race cars, and we're going to compete. Well, none of the teams want to let him in because they're worried he's going to kick their ass like he did in the 70s. It's a joke, man. It is an absolute joke. And I think people started to realize that today.
I mean, for me, it's like I don't put enough energy into fighting about it. Like for me, I'll watch
fair.
it.
This is one of my young kid things where I got really pissed off in my younger years, and like less and less things pissed me off more, but this one stayed with me. At this point, it's like a lifelong war I'll be fighting.
Yeah, I'm just like, for me, I just don't watch it that much. I watch some highlights, kind of, I catch up with like what goes on, but I don't really like pay attention that much. I put focus more into the good racing and, just don't put too much harsh energy into it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So Marcus Ericsson, 2022 Indianapolis 500 winner and former F1 driver, tweeted, I know every race can't be a classic, but imagine if all the people watching F1 today would give IndyCar a chance. We always have minimum 2 to 3 stops with different strategies. He's talking about a 2 to 3 stop race because F1, again, had a 1-stop race today, and it's boring as hell because you don't strategize off one pit stop.
Well, and it's stupid. I hate this. I mean, we talk about it with the dirt versus asphalt people too, where like, I feel like IndyCar fans will go watch F1 and, there's not like a whole lot of hemming and hawing about it. But then too, yeah, you've got these just elitist F1 fans that like refuse to watch IndyCar. And you've got it sometimes with the dirt fans too, where they like just refuse to watch asphalt stuff. But It's like, go watch both. Like, I don't understand why you would ever tear somebody down by like, oh, you watch that? Like,
I just did that for the last 6.5 minutes, Caleb.
Exactly. Like, it just go watch. Like, IndyCar is fantastic, and if you're in F1, like, I can't see why you wouldn't be excited by IndyCar.
Yeah, Daniel Ricciardo said he's scared of ovals. Which is fair. I think you need to get in a car and go try it. But I also just think being a reserve driver is the worst thing. Any driver in motorsports, and I'm in no position to be giving drivers advice, but any driver in motorsports, the worst thing you can do for your career is to sit there and be a reserve driver for a year. You're off camera. You're not going to get brought up. Unless you start bringing a horse to pit road like Ricardo did and just made that your thing, and you just got a new horse for every race. That you have to. Like, that's. Go ahead, Kev.
Yeah. And here's the thing too. It's like, okay, he's not he wouldn't race an oval. I wouldn't race MotoGP, but like it's fun as hell to watch. Like it's still an exciting thing for those to that are participating to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand, how people could think that, like, if you want to watch F1, that's fine. Watch F1, be a fan of F1. That's awesome. Motorsports fans.
I disagree. I just wanted to make sure everyone knew where I stood.
If you're going to support motorsports, I'm not going to tear you down for it, but I can't possibly see how you could think that IndyCar is less fun to watch. And definitely have to try it out. Side note, I was just looking at Twitter, and in the background of the Gregson Chastain fight is the most beautiful, perfect image. I will send it to you, but in the
I saw the
background,
Logano one.
That's what I was. He's got his hat down, he's got his sunglasses on, and he is mid chug of a Coca-Cola, and it is just the funniest thing. Like, oh my god, it is like it would make for a perfect commercial.
No, I love that.
Send-
The other only other thing I got from F1, and there's a few other tweets, but wasn't able to round all of them up. But friend of the podcast in IndyCar Radio, Nick Yeoman says he said, quote, "The most uncompetitive and boring spectacle in motorsports at F1. All sizzle, no substance. ZZZZZ. Sleep emoji." Earlier this week, they've done it a couple times. They're trying to. IndyCar has the trademark for the greatest spectacle in racing.
Mm-hmm.
And F1 is marketing stuff using the word spectacle, and trying to get it as close to as close as they can to the greatest spectacle in race. I think they said the greatest racing spectacle on the planet was what they were calling this. They're basically just trying to rip off IndyCar's trademark and their brand and coming in and trying to take their thunder. And
oh boy.
I'm saying if a series in dirt did that, you guys would all be calling them clowns. And you'd be like, you can't come up with your own slogan? Are you kidding me? But F1 does it, and you're like, oh, Europeans, man, that's just what they do. You know what they say.
I'm also like not a fan of like, if you're gonna rip off marketing like advice, don't rip it off from people that suck at marketing.
Oh, from IndyCar? They've been, yeah. I think now, so they made that change inside, and a lot of people say that IndyCar sucks at marketing. Like, I'm in a group chat with a few guys that cover NASCAR, and myself. It's not, you won't guess the names. It's 10 of us. I'm just saying you won't guess. No one will guess who's in it unless, I don't know. But one of them said when the news came out that the CW or whatever company manages that was filing for bankruptcy, like, IndyCar marketing strikes again. And it's like, well, how the hell is IndyCar supposed to know that this company is going to go bankrupt?
Yeah, okay.
And their promos for the races have been really good this year. My thing is, like, I don't know. I know what good marketing is and well-rounded marketing, but I don't know what works to boost sports on such a high level when streaming numbers everywhere and television numbers everywhere are going down. So,
yeah, it's more just their previous deals is what I was getting.
No, I laughed at it once I got it, and then I jumped to that because I remembered. I was like, why are we taking shots at my guys here? Like, if I put every F1 take in here, you guys would not have a group chat. You'd kick me out of it.
It would just be like it'd be like the equivalent if Hendrick was like struggling a little on speed, so they were like, let's go steal setups from Rick Ware Racing and see what.
Like, that's terrible. You did not just compare IndyCar to Rick Ware Racing.
On a marketing level in the past, that's
when Stingray Rob is on the podcast, I'm going to tell him you hate him.
But what does that have any? Those are
you basically, around the corner, kind of backhanded complimented him, backhand insult maybe.
Not even close, but all right.
Oh man. So besides that, and what truly was a wild weekend, I'm trying to decide if I want to go chronologically here. And the Dallas Stars are about to drop the puck. So I don't ask you guys to think that I'm special or think that, okay. Don't take that. Please don't take that like that. I don't want any thanks from you guys for bailing on my family dinner to come here and do this podcast. I don't need any of that. I would, though, request it for missing some of the Dallas Stars game, which I'm about to put on my phone. That's a very big thing. It's a playoff game, game 3. Seattle's going to get their asses clapped tonight on their home ice. But through the weekend, let's just do today. Let's do, I'm sorry, I'm going impact over chronological, so my bad. So the World of Outlaws were at Eldora Speedway over the weekend. Let's Race 2 is the event. They do World of Outlaws and the USAC non-wing sprint cars race there for 2 nights. Buddy Kofoid missed the A-Main both of those nights. And I'm probably doing this out of order because I don't want to allude that is why this news happened. But today, Sunday, CMS Racing, so Crouch Motorsports, announced that they would be parting ways with Buddy, who currently has 1 World of Outlaws win through a 17-race season. I'm not sure if he wants to race the full schedule. I don't know any details behind the scenes to why this happened. But they're parting ways effective immediately. Team owner, this is from their release, team owner Leighton Crouch and Kofoid could not come to an agreement on the direction of the team, which led to this decision. Buddy is a talented sprint car driver, and we wish him well in all of his future endeavors. #CMS. Buddy responded with a statement of his own, actually just quoted the tweet, posted a picture. He says, "I'd like to let everyone know that myself and Crouch Motorsports have parted ways. I'd like to clarify that out of integrity for myself as a race car driver and personally, I left on my own terms. I look forward to new beginnings. The best is yet to come. I want to thank all of my fans and followers for supporting me and being a part of this journey. See you at a racetrack soon." Now, Buddy Kofoid is not bad at racing. I think his stats this year prove it. He's an up-and-coming driver. He's got real potential to be very, very, very good. 2-time USAC midget champion. He raced in NASCAR at Bristol Dirt in the truck race for Kyle Busch Motorsports. He should have won that race. He was the best car on the track for a period of time, and I would have won a lot more money than I did. He did not. He wrecked, I think, at some point. But it's big to see where Buddy goes, and I think maybe that might tell us a little bit about what happened here. I don't know if it was schedule-oriented or what the deal was, or if they got into a disagreement through. I mean, how many races this year have we seen Buddy miss the A-Main? You know, I don't know if it was just back-to-back B-Main nights where you don't transfer. I have no clue what could have led to this because he is like one of the hottest prospects in the sport. So that one kind of surprised me. And also this weekend, it's the middle of May and we're doing sprint car silly season. Parker Price Miller broke the news that he would not be racing in the McCandless Motorsports number 29 car anymore. He posted this morning, "After the races last night at Eldora, myself and McCandless Motorsports have decided to mutually part ways. We both had different paths we had in mind and just didn't work out. I can't thank Greg, Jill, Logan, Randy, Jordan, Chris, and everyone a part of the team enough. Wish them nothing but success in the future. As far as my plans, that is unknown. Might run my car when I can and possibly try some late model stuff here and there. With that being said, I'm also seeking other rides and opportunities. Thanks." Now, Parker's pretty good. He's been around. He has raced for a few different drivers or a few different owners over the past few seasons. Friend of the show also, but I do wonder where he's going to end up. And I wish I had more to give you guys than that. If I had Monday to prep for it, then we'd be sitting a lot prettier than we are right now. So apologies for that. But I wanted to just mention both of those just to make sure people saw them and kind of got what's going on. In sprint car racing, this stuff can happen a lot easier. There's, as you might imagine, there's a lot more gentlemen's agreements than there are contracts. There are still contracts out there. That happens. But you see drivers and teams split sometimes at very odd times. And some of those decisions can come after a big fight. They can come after a series of poor results. They can, our guy Ayrton Jennison and his sponsor, Fisher Body Shops, they parted ways this week. They parted ways on good terms. They just didn't want to be, Fisher didn't want to be sponsoring a race car anymore. And so that was that. And they made a deal and did whatever. And, both of them go on their way. So all these can be mutual, all these minus the latter one that I just said. But all of these things can be spicy. It's almost open to interpretation, but something happened. If we find out what it is and we can post it, we'll let you know. We'll do that digging. As far as the weekend on the dirt went, Rico Abreu got Donnie Schatz at the line at Eldora on the last lap. So he got his second World of Outlaws win of the year. It's a hell of a start to the season. He's looking as good as I've seen Buddy look throughout his career. Caleb, have you followed Buddy, or did I call Rico Buddy? My bad. Sorry, guys. Caleb, have you followed Rico through his career? Because he had that stint in NASCAR. You would know him.
Yeah, I mean, I know of him. I followed him when he raced trucks and a little bit before, and still when his name pops up, I usually see what's going on with him. So
yeah, so that is something to follow, just with drivers hitting on all cylinders, specifically Enrico. I think you look for that later in the year, see if it keeps continuing. But the pace he's on right now, it's been 4 months or 3 months since he first hopped in a car this year, probably closer to 2. But I mean, he's been solid every weekend, and I've never seen him with this many solid results at a constant going into May. So love that for Rico. He's great. We went to Knoxville Saturday night. Aaron Reitzel made a gigantic statement. Doubled down, won 360s, won the 410 race there at the track too. Chase Randall made his 410 debut, came back 4th in that race. He ran 2nd to Aaron in the 360, and Garrett Williamson ran 3rd in the 360, 5th in the 410, I believe. I'm sorry, I was confused for a second, thinking he might have ran 6th. But he ran 5th in the 410 race. So great nights for those 3 guys, especially. Kerry Madsen just didn't have enough speed to chase down Aaron Reitzel. Also wanted to give a shout out to Matt Stelzer in Victory Lane after the Pace Pro race. He called out, it's a Twitter account named Drunk Dingus. If you know him, you know. I'll just say that. A lot of people that take Drunk Dingus's tweets way too seriously. Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
yeah, you paused for a brief moment, but we're back.
Yeah, no, you froze. We're good. No, but I was getting at Drunk Dingus's Twitter account. Matt gave him a shout out after the race, saying that we were kind of counted out by some people, and Drunk Dingus just put out a ranking of the drivers, or a tier list. He likes to say "trust the tiers" is his saying, but he put it out. Stelzer was like 9th, and he needed 1 win to set the record for most career wins at Knoxville in a Pace Pro car, and he set it on Saturday and gave him a shout out. So that was funny to see. I think it was motivating for Matt. So however people try to draw their motivation to you, if you're going to hand someone billboard material, they're going to just end it up there. So I thought that was really cool. Wasn't able to get Matt after the race. That's just bad journalism on my part. I was running around doing other stuff and just completely forgot to do it until it was too late and he was gone. So other than that, Caleb, how about Chase Sexton?
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, let me hop on my victory horse and I'll be riding around the racetrack for a few minutes. Eli Tomac, I believe, was leading the Supercross race. I was not watching it live. I didn't see what happened. He took a hard hit, retired from the race. Chase Sexton goes on to win. And now Chase Sexton is the Supercross points leader going into the final week of the Supercross season. That's nuts. If you would have told me that after week 4, I would have never believed you.
And Tomac ended up, I don't know, I saw that he had a ruptured Achilles.
Oh.
Yeah. Like not much grosses me out more than the thought of that. Like,
yeah, no, that would hurt. I hope they heal him up for Super Motocross playoffs at the end of the year. That's basically what everything kind of leads to now, as they've came together to work together between Supercross and Motocross. And there are going to be some epic races. I want to see all the big names there. I do. So I hope that gets taken care of. I also think, like, just in that sport, there's no way to be safer than there being. You know what I mean?
It was just he took a hard hit, and like I mean, that can happen walking down the street. Like it you know, obviously when you're doing that, you're more at risk for doing that, but it was kind of a weird deal.
Aside from shortening the schedule to like 6 races, you can't do anything about it. Now, over COVID, when they were racing, it was like Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday, or something like that, or Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. That was stupid shit, and the injuries were on the series, in my opinion. But they wanted to get them in to fulfill the sanctity of what a 17 race season should look like. And on top of the credit there that I want to give them, because I don't want them thinking I would coming after them very hard after that. But on top of that, working with Motocross, who is aligned with a completely different TV deal, completely different people that run it, and just overall an entirely separated entity that houses all the drivers. I mean, it's like World of Outlaws and the High Limit working together. It'd be something like that. Not saying they're not, obviously. But that playoff at the end of the year is going to make motocross more relevant. This late season points change makes Supercross more relevant. And I think everyone benefits overall from it. So if you haven't watched it before, give it a try, especially if you're more of like a one series race fan or something like that, or you want something unique to check out. I think people kind of enjoy Supercross for what it is, and you'll see some interesting stuff usually. So probably one of their best seasons in like the past decade, honestly. What do you think, Caleb?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched a whole lot of it, but
you hear me talk about it though, and I get fired up about it.
Well, all I hear about is Chase Sexton. We don't really talk about anybody else.
Look, Cooper Webb, tough year. I want Red Bull KTM to succeed, but if Chase is the new guy over there, then I suppose I'll keep pretending to cheer for Cooper all the rest of the season. But I don't think they like each other. I think being a Chase Sexton and a Cooper Webb fan is like being a fan of the Cubs and the Cardinals. You know, I mean, the fan bases don't like each other. The drivers don't like each other. One is really good, and the other's talent level is comparative to that of the St. Louis Cardinals, and that's not saying much. I'll let you guys pick which one. I'm speaking tongue in cheek anyway. Caleb, did you have anything else from the week? Well, oh shit, we went to Hawkeye Downs.
Yeah, went to Hawkeye Downs and watched waterfall from the sky, and then left Hawkeye Downs.
Yeah, you go for it. I'm gonna turn this light on. I didn't realize I looked like a ghost the whole show. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, super disappointing. Their season opener ended up getting rained out. and was probably going to be a really, really good show. So that's disappointing. Also, some news out of the Joe Shear Classic today in the ASA race. Dan Fredrickson crossed the line first, and Ty Majeski was second. And then I'm kind of waiting on an official word. This is just unofficial, but due to a motor infraction, Dan Fredrickson has been disqualified from his win, and so Ty Majeski gets a Joe Shear Classic win.
So we had a text shed Ricky.
Yep, so we did, but
oh my god! Whoa! Sorry, one of the Kraken guys just elbowed Mason Marchman in the face. I'm not a big fan of that.
Oh my lord. So yeah, super unfortunate. Like I was all excited for Dan Fredrickson, but I saw one person say a motor infraction. So we're waiting kind of to hear from Weaver what exactly the deal is and stuff on that. But
I'll tell you what, between Tech Shed Ricky and these clowns they got on the NHL ice tonight, I don't know if I'm ever gonna see a referee and not punch him in the face again.
Oh boy.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, I'm not a big fan of officials. I'm not a big fan of that pansy in the tan shirt. Earlier, I just called his tan shirt a pansy color. I would like to also extend that to himself for breaking up the Ross Chastain Noah Grigson fight. On the record, please. The big thing, like with officiating races, is if you got to sit in a shed and tear a car apart for 2 hours to see if a team is cheating, I think you take the entire purpose away from the sport, and that is to make the car go fast.
We've talked about all this.
You know,
oh boy, Caitlin Larson.
Oh yeah, read her tweet. Is there a new one out?
I don't. This one was from like 2 hours ago. So I saw her first one, which was.
Oh, can I say something real quick too? If you're out there tweeting at NASCAR drivers' wives, first of all, you're a goddamn loser. Number two, you have to understand that there's a group chat of NASCAR drivers' wives out there that are laughing at you and your face. And I guarantee you your profile picture is going in there, and every comment from the group chat is going, dude, who would fuck that guy? I can't believe he has a kid.
Oh my lord.
I wonder where the wife is at. I'm telling you, every time. Just don't do that. If you know someone that does that, tell them not to do that. Stupid.
She tweeted and she said, something, Larson got wrecked twice, both times from the lead with like the face palm emoji. And now she, like, this was 2 hours ago, but she also tweeted out, actions hypocritical.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin naming his podcast "Actions Detrimental" has really backfired to Denny.
Is it though? Because
that's the only take I had from that tweet. I don't know. And the weird thing was, I kind of thought that first tweet was about what happened at the end of the race. So I didn't assume that we'd see a second one.
Yeah, I think it's messy when the significant other goes off and on the social media and just starts spewing stuff. I just don't think it's a great idea.
Now, here's my deal. When I'm looking at stuff like that, I'm looking at statements from people's wives, girlfriends, husbands, boyfriends, whatever. First off, from their point of view, do you expect them to cheer for anyone else or give any other dude in the world leeway? Because that's stupid, number one. Like, that's...
which is fine. Like, if you go and you cheer on, blah, 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 like, whatever. I think it's just, it's dumb when you start, like, talking shit about a driver on social media. Like, I think that just gets to be messy, and I just think it's
I don't take really that much by it. I expect, obviously, any significant other is going to be cheering for their partner, and they might have an opinion on this driver, and if you're a driver and you get talked shit about by a wife or girlfriend on Twitter, do they even understand? Do you know that they understand the sport enough to know what? And I'm not trying to say I'm not doing the females aren't smart deal, obviously. I'm trying to say is, do you think they know the ins and outs of everything in that situation? And that can change, obviously, for every different deal that comes up. But I mean, these guys on the track know more about tendencies of the guys that are around them than anyone could ever know watching from afar. You know what I'm saying, Caleb?
Yeah, I definitely get it.
There's so many wrinkles in there that, they might not even understand. And, maybe she just doesn't like the way Ross Chastain races. Maybe, I don't know. But again, when I was younger, I was if I saw all right, I will just say hypothetical, but the name I was going to bring up, I just don't want to bring up. But see someone crapping on one of your favorite drivers, and you want to be pissed off at him, and it's it's just that guy's wife. What do you want her to say? You can just not respond to the tweet and be like, that girl, really stupid. That dude, idiot, complete idiot. But yeah, I just don't really care what they say is what I'm trying to say. Let them say what they want. Understand they're going to be biased.
I mean, they have that right.
Yeah, I don't think any team needs to mute the wives' Twitter accounts from being able to tweet in a.
No. I mean, and it's not, I'm not calling for
Yeah, I didn't think you were.
I just think it looks messy, and it's just got some of that childish drama kind of in. But also real quick, so the listed reason for the Dan Fredrickson disqualification is engine violation. Matt Weaver says it's worth noting last night that Dan bought a new engine when he blew his up in practice yesterday. So they're kind of waiting more details, but it sounds like he got an engine from Michael Hine Racing, and he races down south, so the rules tend to be a little different, so you start getting into that. So it's super unfortunate because it was probably just one of those things that they didn't know,
I'm glad we're making rules so that we can get away from the point of what racing was supposed to be about in the first place.
Well, and that's eventually what they want to do with all three of those series is get to a point where that's not a problem, where
I have an idea. Do you want to hear it?
What?
It's all legal.
Yeah, that's great.
Let's go see what happens.
I don't think you understand what happens when the
teams that can buy better parts, they will be faster. It would turn into F1.
The teams like the Majeskis and stuff that literally don't have a budget would just, it wouldn't even be a thing. So, but anywho, that's all I got.
And this is unfair to say, but then I would bring up, well, that's kind of a purse issue. But obviously, Ty Majeski races in NASCAR. He has NASCAR money. Some of these other guys don't.
Well, but here's the thing too. If you give these guys 10,000, it doesn't even matter. If you let them do whatever they want, they will spend however much they want.
This ref just got in the way of one of our guys.
Oh boy,
I hate officials.
If you put if you put a cap of 5,000 and you tell these teams you can only spend 5,000, they'll spend 5,000. If you put it at a cap of 20,000, they'll go spend. Some of them will go spend 20,000. If you put it at 100,000, I guarantee a couple of them can spend $100,000.
You just have no way of proving that, though.
There would be teams out there that would find a way to.
Then they buy the engine with cash, and you can't trace it. Yeah, I don't know. I love talking about that stuff, though, because it is really interesting to me, like what problems arise, and even in that like the hypothetical that I threw out, knowing damn well that it's wrong, like the cause and effect of everything that goes into that, how we arrived at something that we tear a car apart for an hour or two to make sure it's legal, and then when it's not, the winner of the race changes.
Right. Well, and I'm hoping they can get to a point where it's more unified, because I've always disliked the idea that a guy running a super late model in Wisconsin could go down and run a track in Alabama and not be legal, and then you could go run at a track in North Carolina and not be legal for the track in Alabama or Wisconsin. And like it's always just never made sense to me. And so I'm hoping with what they've got going on now, they can start to unite, and it'll make more sense. Because then those guys that want to just go race and they want to go around, and we got to knock out the ability where you're spending hours and hundreds of dollars just to go race at a track down the road. So
Yeah,
we'll see what comes of it, and go from there.
and all in on this real good note. I've been to a lot of smaller tracks in my life, and I've been to a lot of thank dirt tracks. I emailed a pretty high tiered sprint car series about getting credentialed to go to a track 3 hours from me. And they told me that due to high demand, they didn't have enough press passes left, or any left. But I was welcome to drive 3 hours and spend $45 to get in the pits and do my job, which frankly a little insulting, especially when the press pass is a little paper pieced wristband that goes around your wrist. So I don't know if you only bought one sheet of those for everyone in the pits, but you know how that goes.
You said last time you told the story that you weren't like that mad about it, but like
no, I'm getting to just. I'm not trying to harp. That's why I didn't mention the series. They're all good. I haven't talked to anyone from there or anything about that. Everyone I talked to at Hawkeye Downs that worked there, like, thanked me for coming. Even though it was a rain out, even though we didn't get any racing in, even though they might have not heard of Always Race Day before, even if they just thought I was friends with Caleb. And maybe this says more about Caleb than anything. I don't know. But I've never had a track where everyone I met said thanks for coming. So like that shit blew me away.
Next time you come, we gotta get business cards so that you can actually like hand out business cards.
I kind of want to just hand out stickers.
Well, that too.
I got 70 little Always Race Day stickers left. Technically they're the race use size in the Eldora Million in the A main, driven by Ricky Weiss.
There you go. Yeah. That
history.
Works too, because those guys will put there's a good bunch of them that'll put stickers on just because. So
yeah, I'll bring them with me next time, and we'll do that, and I'll get more if we need to. But yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to Hawkeye Downs for that, because not all tracks do that. Not all tracks understand that, my job isn't to promote the race, but you're somewhat promoting the race by going. There's a reason you're going to the race. There's a reason you're writing about the race. And there's a reason people should read your stuff and care about it and why you're going to the race. Just like I covered Iowa State tennis on Saturday, because they have a really deserving story and people should care about that. So it's not promoting it. I mean, you have to play every side fair, and I do. I won't shy away. If anyone ever has a qualm about any biasness in my reporting, let me know, because I head on. I'll talk to you about it. I told a guy that replied to our story about Ayrton and their sponsor splitting, and I said, find me at a racetrack and talk to me. But I just want to be open. I want racetracks to succeed. I'm not blindly going to pump out and just spread good messages about every track out there. So when I do spread a good message about a track like Hawkeye Downs, take that for exactly for what it's worth, and it's worth a lot. So I just thought that was really cool. Even, on a rain out day that should suck, we had a lot of fun. So I wanted to make sure to get that in full and give them a shout out, because I was talking to a bunch of guys in Knoxville about that. And not that Knoxville they have awesome, awesome people too. You good? You got anything else, Caleb?
I am good.
Sweet. Well, thank you guys. We'll get Damon on here to bitch about Denny Hamlin on the next episode. We'll get to that. Other than that, might have a guest Wednesday for y'all. I think it'll be Wednesday when we do it. We're planning a ton of stuff. It'll be announced soon. Big deal in the works with something we're going to do with the World of Outlaws weekend at Knoxville. So be on the lookout for that. It might not necessarily be here this week, but a lot of the legwork is getting done right now. So we're a little bit busy with that, but great weekend of racing. Probably the best weekend of the year, easily. And I hope it only gets better from here. And, before you know it, it'll be August, and we'll be camping out at Knoxville for 10 days, and the best 10 days of racing of the year. So appreciate you all for listening. Get out to your local tracks, get out to the big shows. Make sure you follow us at Always Race Day, and thank the Karl Auto Group for being our presenting sponsor. We love them. We appreciate them a lot, and we will see you guys Wednesday night. Thank you.